Hello student, welcome. Today I will teach you new topic, that is the effect of parasitism on the parasites. Effects of parasitism on the parasites. Aside from the toning down of their effects on the host, parasites are often very highly modified in structures to meet the demands to meet the demands of their particular environment. As a group, parasites have little need for sense organs and seldom have them as highly developed as do related free living animals. Fixed parasites do not need and do not have well developed organs of locomotion. If indeed they possess any intestinal parasites do not need highly organized digestive tract, and the tapeworms and spiny headed worms have host this portion of their anatomy completely. On the other hand, parasites must be specialized often to very high degree to adhere to or to make their way about in their particular host, or the particular part of the host in which they find suitable conditions for existence. Example of specialization of external parasites are the compressed bodies and backwards projecting spines of flies, which enable them to glide readily between hairs without backsliding the clasping talons on the claws of lice. The barbed proboscides of ticks and the tactile hairs of mites in these same parasites can be observed marked degeneration in the loss of eyes and other sense organs, absence of wings, and sometimes reduction of legs. Internal parasites are even more peculiar combinations of degeneration and specialization. They possess all sort of hooks, harbs, suckers, and boring apparatus. Yet they have particularly no sense organs or special organs of locomotion, a very simple nervous system, and sometimes, as said before, a complete absence of the digestive tube. Still more remarkable are the specializations of parasites in their reproductions and life history to ensure, as far as possible, a safe transfer to new host for the succeeding generation. Every structure, every function, every instinct of many of these parasites is modified to a certain extent for the sole purpose of reproduction. A flux does not aid to life, it aids only to reproduce. The inevitable death of the host is the parasite's doomsday, against which it must prepare. by producing all the offsprings possible in the hope that enough will surviving to keep the race from extinction. The complexity to which the development of the reproductive systems may go is almost incredible. In some adult tapeworms, not only does every segment bears complete male and female reproductive systems, but it may bear two sets of each. The number of eggs produced by many parasites worms may run well into the millions. The complexity of the life history is no less remarkable. Not only are free-living stages, interposed and intermediate hosts made to serve as transmitting agent, but also often asexually multiplication sometimes to the extents of the several generations are passed through during the course of these remarkable experiences. Mutual tolerance of host and parasite. Mutual tolerance. Mutual tolerance of host and parasites. Both are tolerance to each other. The effect of parasitism is felt by both parasites and host. A sort of mutual adaptation between the two is developed in proportion to the time that the relationship of host and parasites has existed. It is obviously to the disadvantage of the internal parasites to cause the death of their host, or in some doing they destroy themselves. It is likewise to the disadvantage of external parasites, not so much to cause the death of their host as to produce such pain or irritation as to lead to their own destructions at the hands or teeth of the irritated host. In well established host parasite relations, the succeed in protecting itself against the injurious effects of the parasites, partly by developing antibodies which neutralize poisonous or injurious products of their parasites, partly by placing its blood forming or tissues repairing mechanisms on a plane of highly efficiency, and partly by less well understood immune mechanisms. Baker scientists have described in 1953 discussing how parasites tolerance their host, called attention to the many possible roles that mucoproteins and related substances of both host and parasites may play. Mucoproteins. One is the interference with antibody action. Example, the absorption of isoagglutinins from the blood of a host by polysaccharides excreted by invading parasitic worms, which process the A antigen and may thus protect themselves, and Baker's sparing action of duck plasma on lopori, Plasmodium lopori in chicks. Another is stimulation of antibodies that may then reach against the mucoproteins producing parasites themselves or against related antigenic groups in the host cells. A possible explanation for backwards fever, as Oliver Gonzalez in 1944 pointed out, another may be protection of parasites against their own or their host digestive enzymes. A disease introduced into a new place is more destructive than in place where it has long been present. When introduced into a new species of the host, the delicate adjustment between host and parasite is missing, and usually either the parasite fails to survive or else the host is severely injured or destroyed. A high degree of pathogenicity of a parasite may be considered prima facie evidence of a recent and still imperfect development of the host parasite relations. An organism and the parasites which are particularly adapted to the live with it may in a way be looked upon as a sort of the compound organism. When an intermediate host is involved, there is a third party added to the association, and the relationship of intermediate host to definitive host as well as those of the possible to each may be important. Okay, thank you.